I won't go into the details, but I want to talk about failure. I want to talk about, going through the process of life where things don't go our way, when things don't work out. As you know, I went through a tough period last October due to purely my own conscience, my own mistakes, my own faults, my own decision making. And I vouched for myself that in December I would start working on my problems. And so throughout December, I had changed my routine, I had changed my habits, I was working hard, and I was making a lot of progress. And in January, I continued that, and I had set a certain set of goals for this year and for the years to come of the things that I wanted to achieve, things I wanted to attain, whether it was monetary or love or a job. There was a set of things I wrote down onto a blank sheet of paper essentially, and said, okay, when this year is over and I'm standing hopefully somewhere near the top of the mountain that I'm climbing, I can look back and say, wow, look at all these beautiful things I've seen, all these beautiful flowers I've picked, all these views I've had. I want it to climb the mountain of success. And all of us really, we're climbing this mountain. All of us are trying to get there without touching failure all too often. We're trying to evade it. We're trying to not go through the tricky sections. We're trying not to take those risks. But deep inside me, there was a goal. There was something I really wanted to attain, and I had a plan. The plan was very straightforward. The plan was very visual. It was very specific. But it was one that I didn't fully plan out, because it was just something that, in fact, would essentially change my life for the next forever. It was literally one of those things that, if they did come to fruition, if it did go down that route, then I would have to be prepared to make a commitment for the rest of my life. And I've always suffered from that. I have a hard time committing to something for even just a week or a month, let alone for the rest of your life. That sort of commitment takes a certain amount of courage. And things happened, and this plan had actually come to fruition, even though it was just a thought, even though it was really just a hope that I was holding on to, that things would go that way. Things had gone that way. And for another month or so, it looked like it was going to be smooth sailing. It looked like there was going to be there was a lot of hope in this, there was a lot of passion, a lot of emotions. And as of this week, things have changed. The situation has changed, and I've yet again began to feel the spiraling precipice of pain, of failure, of depression. And it's this scary feeling, it's the sinking feeling you get in your stomach. It's the lack of appetite. It's the tiredness of wanting to sleep all the time. You start to live a different life. You immediately become a different person, and I think I've equated it before, but it's akin to drowning, where you are just frantically grabbing for every single ounce of a dopamine that you could possibly find. You're trying to find some kind of oxytocin or serotonin for your brain to get, and you're trying to frantically solve the scenario. And what's keeping me afloat, what's keeping me functional, is the reminder of the past, the reminder of where I was in October, the reminder of just how low I had sunk, how deeply devastated I was, how emotionally depressed, how just annihilated. I was utterly annihilated as an individual, morally, spiritually, physically. And I never want to go down there again. It serves as a painful reminder, but a reminder nonetheless never to go down that path again. Today I speak to you from the heart. I speak to you from a point of view where I'm standing on the precipice, where I'm standing atop a cliff, upon this mountain that I'm climbing, and I'm staring down into the abyss where I was down there. I was in that void. It's so deep, it's so far down, you can't actually see the bottom. And you know that if you make the wrong step, that if you slip, you're going to fall, and you're going to fall all the way down there into the bottom, and you're going to have to climb your way all the way back up to the mountain, and you're going to be back at the same spot you were. That's the creepy feeling. Is the feeling that on top of this mountain, somewhere, there's going to be these obstacles that if you do make the wrong choice, you're going to have to do it all over again and be put in front of that question once more, and you'll have the opportunity to fail again. You could fail infinite amount of times. Just like Sisyphus was forced to roll the ball to the top of the mountain, rolls back down, he does it all over again. So the question that I'm asking myself is why? Why the work? Why the failure? Where's the solution? What is the most egotistical approach I can take? What is the most socially acceptable approach I can take? What would my idol do? What would my alter ego do? And sometimes that is enough to help push through the scenario. By putting yourself into a different person's shoes, analyzing it from at least 2, preferably 3 different positions, and saying, okay, so from an outside point of view, you're making an elephant out of a fly. From an inner side of view, you are actually right to have an emotional disbalance. You actually have valid arguments. There's actually maybe reasons for you to try to mend this and stay in the area of failure for a little while longer, linger there, try to figure out how you want to continue, take it step by step. And then the alter ego, which could potentially be in favor of just jumping all the way down head first. Or it could be a person who's able to disconnect from this, completely and just continue walking as if there is no precipice, as if there is no great fall, as if there is no danger lurking for you below. This alter ego, I think everybody has. I think everybody has the ability to tap in to that alternate persona, completely disconnect from the world and continue pushing on. The reason why we get into these scenarios is because we become dependent, and I too in the past have become dependent several times upon different entities. Whether this is your family that you're dependent on, whether it's a certain goal you've set you're dependent on. It could be that you have a weight loss and you said, I wanna lose 10 pounds. And if you don't lose those 10 pounds, until you lose those 10 pounds, you feel like you're not going to be happy. And happiness is this fleeting feeling that we're constantly tippy-toeing, trying to reach. And it's a topic of many a debate. It's a topic of many a life, many a relationship. Everybody tries to attain this utter and fulfilling happiness. And I don't think that it's realistic. I don't think that if we were all to walk around life always being, jilly jolly and happy, that life would be very, very nice. I think that there has to be these moments of failure that allow us to then bounce back and climb back, and these setbacks should happen and they should be there, and they're there for a reason. For me at the moment, the environment is slightly out of my control. The situationship is a little bit out of my control, but the way that I try to deal with it, at least personally, is by finding that power. Where's the energy going at the current state point? If the energy I'm focusing on being sad, if the energy is going on being depressed, if the energy is going into sleep, if the energy is going into trying to figure out and muster an answer to a question that doesn't exist, to a solution that perhaps isn't present no more, because certain scenarios in our life require more than just a one person's decision. I think the best thing to do is to find that energy and circle it and focus it somewhere else. Whether that is sport, whether that is work, if it's your project, just try not to spend too long staying on the precipice, staring into the abyss, because the longer you stand there, the higher the chance you're going to fall down. If you were to stand in a busy intersection in the middle of all the cars, there's a way higher chance that you're going to get hit than if you were to just run over. And sometimes running over might just be the solution. You will risk getting tagged, you will risk getting a bit of a Frogger action, but maybe that's just what we need every once in a while. A little bit of Frogger, a little bit of tippy-toeing, a little bit of run, a little bit of faith. So learn from failure, learn from the pain, keep it, harness it, and try to rechannel it. That's what I'm going to be doing, and hopefully you will see the progress in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, I'm going to keep up with the content as I promised, because if there's one thing I've been trying to get from this year is to become more consistent, not just with this, not just with projects, but with everything. Everything I do in life, I want to learn consistency, I want to learn dedication, and I want to learn to be more determined and just a better person overall. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.